first day of summer, isn't it, really? I'd say. It's like 22 degrees, no rain. They said stay at home, so we'll make a water park. Get in. Alright, that's it. We're not putting any water in though. Yeah, of course we are. Put in that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Woo! Right, you've got to run, and we've got to jump into that middle one. 3, 2, 1, go! Go, go, Doodles, go! Go, go! Ah, not really, suckers. And now for the final piece. Right, you ready? It's coming on. Well, that was fun. Back to the fish tanks. So it's the start of April. It's boiling hot in the UK. We're all on lockdown, so we're just trying to enjoy ourselves, as you can just see. This won't be a regular occurrence, obviously, but anyway, the angelfish tank has been set up now for well over a week. Let's take a look at that, see what's happened to it, and see what needs doing now. See what's doing now. I'm soaking wet. Right, I'm all dry. So the angelfish tank is coming along absolutely brilliantly. I couldn't be more happy with the start we've had so far. Really impressed. Normally when you get a good start to a tank, you can expect it just to continue like that. Not always the case, but hopefully we're on to a winner with this one. And you can already see, look, we've got a little friend here. So I added the 3 auto-synclish catfish from the cave aquarium. I moved them across to here. They seem to be doing really well. No issues so far. And they're already starting the cleanup job. That's what we want. I mean, I need to get more cleanup crew in here. I need catfish. I need 𝐃𝐎𝐍'𝐶𝑉s at the bottom. There's a lot of waste sitting down the bottom at the moment. But obviously I can't get the fish. I can't go out. I don't like buying things like shipping and all that. Mainly because I've never done it before. But I do like to see the fish in person before I buy them, you know? Also, some of you might have seen in other videos, I've set up this little CO2 system. Now, this is not expensive or anything like that. It's not one of those complicated systems. All it is the Tropica sort of diffuser airline tube that comes down here and just sits in that little CO2 bit there that's hanging. So this was all part of the kit. Probably shouldn't have it hang like that, but you know what? It is, and I keep it real with you guys. So basically, I'm going to pretend I haven't set this up now and take it off, because I ran out the CO canister in a day because I turned it on way too high accidentally and walked out the room. Never mind, doesn't matter, you know, people make mistakes. And that's the thing, guys, I'm always going to keep it real with you. I mess up all the time. Like, I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm quite new to this hobby. I've only been doing it a couple of years, so like, I do still make quite a lot of mistakes. I'm pretty good at keeping my water good though, so that's the main thing. So when I say, like, I emptied the whole thing in a day, it's a slight exaggeration. Don't worry, no fish were harmed at all. You know, this is actually designed for a nano system, and this is a big tank to have that small amount of CO2 in. So there was no danger to any livestock, but still, I didn't want to release it that quickly. So you can see here I'm just attaching the airline hose to the diffuser. It's also a bubble counter as well, all in sort of one package. I'm then placing the diffuser as low down in the tank as I can. What this means is it will take longer for each bubble to reach the surface. This is good because it means more time for that bubble to diffuse into the water column itself without just being gassed off. And then it's just a case of pushing a nut over the other end of an airline tube, attaching it to the regulator and tightening it up, screwing in the CO2 canister and turning it on. Now there is a little bit of trial and error with trying to find the perfect amount to turn it on, turning it off, but just fiddle around with it a little bit and you'll get it right in the end. Once I do get it right, I like to put a little mark with a permanent marker just to tell me where to turn it to next time. Don't need to do this if you get a solenoid on it, which basically flicks on and off the system. I do have one, but let's just keep it simple. So as you guys can see, here is the discus tank behind me. It's looking fantastic. Now, I'm not actually in this room very often at all, so I don't really see it that much, which is a bit of a shame, but it does look fantastic. And this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm trying to go for with the new angelfish aquarium. Masses of plant density, big sweeping plants going over the top. Look, we've got the stems in the background just shooting up, loads of Java fern, everything just sort of mixing together. and looking really good. These guys are a bit panicking, look, because they're not used to this bright light here. So what I really like about this look is just it's so easy to manage and maintain. As you can see, there is an absolute ton of baby guppies here. Now that's what I want to do with the old cave aquarium. I want to turn it into a little area that we can put nice, really cool guppies in. I'll make it an interesting little scape, but nothing too complicated, something that everyone else can do. That's what I really like doing nowadays, guys, just making stuff that you can do, I can do, we can all enjoy it, not overly complicated, not pretentious in any sort of way at all. And I feel like you guys really like that as well. But if you remember me saying before about crypts, yeah, lots of the crypts that I've got in this tank are not actually planted. A lot of them I've just pushed in between cracks, crevices, and, you know, in bits of rock and wood, and they are growing absolutely brilliantly. Like this whole middle section over here is all crypts, and look, it's just, they look so gorgeous. The greens down here on the Anubias, look, this Anubias was a couple of little plants, and now it's just spreading all the way across. I'm just like, it's astounding. Like, you're probably thinking, what's the secret to the success? Well, I started with a little bit of CO2. It's the same kit that you've just seen me attach to the angelfish aquarium. Now, I ran that for about a month, and then I just took it off. Actually, I don't think I even took it off. I think I just forgot to put the canister back in and just left it. But the plant growth was actually too fast, and I was continuously trimming these plants back here, the stem plants, which, to be fair, they need trimming again. But, you know, I'm just going to leave them for the time being, and then soon it might be time for a rescape on here, because this is just crazy. I mean, I'm not entirely sure why, but for some reason my camera's not picking up the shadow areas. I guess it's because I'm so bright in front of it and then it's dark at the back, but, you know, you get the idea. I'll put some camera footage over the top of all this so you guys can see how nice it actually is. A little bit of cinematic while I'm talking. But yeah, that's the Discus aquarium, guys. This is something like what I want the angelfish one to look like. So hopefully, within a few months' time, it will be thick and dense like this. The difference only being that this is a very narrow tank. The new one we've got from Aquariums for Life comes right out, and there's so much more room in the foreground because this is quite compact. We need more room than that for our angelfish. Right, so let's get started with the maintenance on the tank. First thing we want to do is unplug the filters. We want to minimise the amount of dirty stuff we're going to be stirring up to go into the filters. We want to take it out with a water change. I've then got this pipe outlet inlet modified thing that I use for just taking out the water. It's got a little inlet cover on the end just to stop me sucking up any stones, because that can be so annoying, and it just means I can get right into the substrate. You could use like a gravel vac, but I don't own one. I never have owned one, so this is what I do. I think I like doing it this way because it doesn't stir around all the detailed stones too much and keeps them all in the areas that I actually want them to be in. We then just need to scrub this glass with the cleaner. It's basically just a glass cleaning pad on a stick, but it does allow you to get good pressure on the glass because some of this green spot stuff can be quite stubborn at times. And then waving about in the areas and using the hose directly on it. These seem to be some of the areas where the waste sort of collects. Doing it this way just means we can take out a good load of it in one go. Okay, so we've done a 50% water change. I've cleaned all of the glass. I've stirred up the substrate because there was loads of sort of snail poo, I think it was, and bits of wood chippings and just general mess stuff all in it. So that's all looking fresh again. And don't forget to hit the join button down below if you want to see behind the scenes stuff. Sometimes my wife is on it as well, and as you can see, she's stunning. So, oh, you want to say something, Kate?
No.
No. Yeah, click the join button, guys. I've noticed at the back here, some of the leaves of the crypts have done a little bit of melting, but that's normal. Loads of the new stuff is coming through. The more green stuff is the proper, you know, immersed growth crypts, if you like. And then there's stuff that looks a little bit more yellowy and little holes on the edges and that. That's just the leaves that were grown out of water. They're melting back. We can just trim them off, that's fine. And we'll get loads of really nice new growth. Right, so there's all our trimmed crypt leaves. Now that might look like a lot, and when you do it, you might be thinking, oh no, I'm cutting away all my growth, but only leave perfect leaves. Leave the leaves. Basically, you just get rid of it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. Good ones will grow back. Lots of new good ones. Look at that. I mean, they look lovely now, don't they? Really nice. And, you know, you don't want like scraggly looking leaves in there anyway. Just take them out. You get better ones. Well guys, the tank is looking fantastic and it is fully complete. Now, because of the cycled media in the filter, it's technically now completely ready for new fish. And I've got news on that front. I've managed to source some fish. Now, They're currently just been received by the place I'm getting them from. They need to be going through like a quarantine process to be treated and all that sort of thing. So I won't be able to get them for a couple of weeks yet, but it's going to be worth the wait, trust me. They're going to be sending me a good batch of other fish as well that we need to go into this tank, from cleaning crew to 𝐷𝐵𝐻 fish, all that sort of thing. I literally cannot wait to bring that to you guys. So as I was saying before, I think it's really good the depth of this tank is actually giving us all this space in the foreground. Now why is that important? Well, angelfish get pretty big, you know. They can reach up to 20 centimeters in height, some even higher. So the fact of the matter is we've got 60 centimeters height, so we've got loads of room there. And the tank comes out really far as well. Now that's going to help with swim room and all that sort of thing. They're not the most active of swimmers, you know, they will tear about left to right, but they're not all over the shop like you'd see, say, a tetra would be, sort of a schooling fish. They school, but they school steady, similar to discus. They don't fly around the tank at 100 miles an hour. But we have got some fish going in there that do that, but I'll tell you more about that when they come and it's completely confirmed. But I think you know what I'm talking about. Hint, hint, it's my absolute favourite fish as well. So far, I'm getting really good success with having the 2 filter system that I've got in here. So basically, I've got one filter at the front that's like an inlet and outlet, and one filter at the back on the opposite side that's an inlet and outlet. Now the one at the back's a slower flow, which is good for the stem plants that we've got there because they don't like a lot of flow. But one thing I am noticing, obviously, but with no fish in here, as in bottom feeders, catfish, that sort of thing, there's quite a lot of waste that keeps building up on the decorative stand at the front here. It's not out of control or anything, I've just got to keep an eye on it and just keep vacuuming it whilst I'm waiting for the fish to arrive. Again, some cool fish planned for you guys. And for myself, obviously. But I think one thing is for definite, guys. This is my absolute favourite tank. I think it's like the best one that I've ever done. Hopefully you guys agree with me. And I think it's going to be really cool to be able to keep a fish that I've never kept before as well. You know, it's perfect because it's a South American fish, and my water perfectly suits that kind of requirement as well. This is good because it means I don't have to mess around with it at all and try and sort of match parameters every time you do a water change and all that sort of thing. With what I've got, straight out the tap, some dechlorinator can be done whenever, and no issue at all. No levels going up and down and all over the place. The only thing I've got to match is temperature, which I'm sure I can do that. I've been doing it so far in the other tanks. Thank you everyone for being so patient with this one, because you know it's annoying, isn't it? I mean, I would have before now, if not for the lockdown, gone and got the fish way before, but such is life. I kind of feel like it's been worth the wait, and I'm actually even more excited now to see the fish in it. It's allowed me as well to develop my ideas in the other fish that I want to have with it. It's also enabled me to source them from a place I wouldn't normally, which is potentially online. Everyone loves an unboxing video, right? I used to love watching the Aquarium Co-op ones when I had time to watch other videos. Some of my favourite videos of those, just pulling the bags out, what's inside and what is it. I mean, why? It's such an exciting video, isn't it? I don't know why. Like, at that point, the fish aren't even coloured up, but it's still like, what's in it, what's in it? And I always like when they do the B-roll, when it snaps to the fish after it's sort of coloured up. So I'll make sure I do that as well. Will that spoil it? No, of course it won't. And yeah, anyway, I'll work it out. We'll work it out together. So far, so good, guys. We're getting all sorts of new growth all over the place. You know, like this leaf here on this Anubias, that's new. New leaves back there. New leaves coming out the Java fern. The moss, if you look now, it's got all these sort of fresh tips to it. Let me see if I can show you a better example. So, okay, right next to the CO2, that's just a coincidence, I think, that the lighting's different here. But if you look at that, see all these really like sort of bright greeny edges? That's all new growth coming on the moss, which is brilliant. It means it's settled in, it's loving it. The Bucephalandra, the phalange, that's from Friends, sorry. There's the new leaves coming off of that as well. I don't know if you can tell. So it's been a day since I put in the Rotala H-Rye, and as you can see at the back there, look, it's already starting to straighten up, and that's going to look really good back there when it gets even more vibrant. I mean, it'll help if I remember to turn the damn lights off. Too late. But yeah, I think we're getting loads of Java fern poking through. Anything you see that's more green is new growth. I don't think I caught it on video actually, but look, I've also put a couple of little sprigs of Hydrocotyle Japan in there, and then one over there. Now I didn't want to go silly with it because I know what this plant does and it goes crazy. So I've just done that so that we can keep it in check quite easily and just keep it as nice little pockets. And I think that's looking snazzy. That's not a word I use, shut up. View from the top, guys, looks fantastic, doesn't it? And that's the beauty of an open top tank like this. You can look in over the top. The main benefit of it is maintenance. You can just get straight in there, straight away, trim it off, job done. I mean, you're always gonna have a really wet arm, so tea towels over the shoulder at all times is necessary. So you can see the misting there, look. That's capturing the bubbles quite nicely. So that is with this kind of flow rate. 1, 2, 3, about 1 bubble per second, and that should last a good month to 5 weeks, that CO2 canister we've got down there, if you turn it off at night, which I will do obviously, because you don't need it on at night. The plants don't photosynthesize at night. But that, you can see, look, the amount of bubbles we're getting, and also that is why I've put it so low down and right beneath the outlet, so the bubbles have the ability to sort of disperse their own way, look, and then they come up and then just shot all the way across, and the whole tank then is getting a really good amount of CO2. You know, I think this fine misting maybe with less sort of bubbles per second is actually meaning that it's staying in the water column longer, rather than just bigger bubbles, a higher rate just coming straight to the surface. But I think it looks insane. Let's put it in the widescreen. I think it looks brilliant, guys. There's a scratch on the lens of this widescreen, so it does make the lights go a little bit blurry and weird, but who cares? We're not going to worry about such small things, are we? Why haven't I still turned the lights off behind it? Right, there we go. Lights out, lights out. So you can see that the gravel as well at the bottom here has still got that sort of yellowy tinge to it. Absolutely normal diatom phase. You can see some of it on the rocks here and on the rocks here. Again, that will fade in time. Plus, when I get some more ottos in there and more of a cleanup crew, you know, it's going to look brilliant. But the main thing you want to look out for at this stage is algae on any of the plants, and I haven't seen a single bit anywhere. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to pick it up on camera anyway, so I could say that and just be absolutely lying to you. But what would be the point in that? Density here is really good, guys, and that is the key to the good start in an awesome aquarium: plant density. So a few people stated that when they first saw the tank, you know, right after I set it up, that they thought there was a bit of an overload of plants. Now, I would kind of sort of agree with them to a point, because when you first put plants in like that, it can look very scraggly, but literally within a few days all the plants start pointing in the same direction. There's so much more of a better flow. It's often quite difficult to envisage how this is going to be when you're setting it up, but luckily I've set up enough tanks now to know that I can trust my own sort of instinct and really follow through with a build and have the confidence that it's going to turn out really good in the end. So I guess what I'm saying is that when you're doing your builds, guys, have confidence in what you're doing. Quite often, to be honest, I've set up tanks before and literally an hour afterwards I've looked at it and thought, that looks rubbish. In a few days, when I've got more time, I'm going to break it down and do it again. Now a few days passes, plants settle in, again they grow towards the light. This is the difference. Like, once they start doing that, they really look good. And I thought, oh, actually, this scape's really good. I've gone from thinking I'm tearing this down to this is really good. I'm not even kidding you. So one of the most common questions I get for this tank is, MD, what fish are going in it? Like, really? Another one is, are you running CO2? Well, we've answered that question now, haven't we? I'm running CO2, not your traditional setup with a massive sort of fire extinguisher. You know, I'm not into all of that. I couldn't be bothered with all that. And to be honest, can't really be bothered with this CO2, but the fact is I've got the kit here. I thought I'd put it on. It's actually worked out really good. You know, is it going to be worth the new cartridges all the time? I think so. Unless you're trying to run like tons of CO2 systems, then you're obviously better off with a fire extinguisher and loads of sort of like outlets from it. I don't really know what I'm talking about with CO2, as you can probably tell. But if you want to dabble in a little bit of CO2 testing, see if you like it, see if you need it, see if you even want it, then I think this is definitely a good kit to go for.
It's
So anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. Make sure you click that like, subscribe button, all that stuff. Do it now. See you on the next one.